in terms of their expertise for food security, livelihoods, nutrition. And they reviewed the data and independently confirmed that a famine is taking place in Gaza Governorate. This is the gold standard in terms of analysis for food security and nutrition worldwide.
All right. Can Rein or Samir, do you want to add something?
If I could, maybe just quickly to say, in complement to what was already shared by Jean-Martin, I mean, the analysis, I mentioned the period of time frame in which the analysis covered. So data and information from 1st of July through to the 15th of August from a wide range of sources, including data from COGAT. All of these things were looked at and considered in the analysis using the standard protocols that were in place. Just to signal that as we looked at the analysis and as the experts reviewed that analysis, just to take one example, the food consumption, so one of these three areas that we look at, right? So the extent to which there's extreme hunger, the proportion of households across the Gaza Strip reporting very severe hunger, according to the household hunger scale, which is one of the tools that's used across the territory, doubled just in the period May to July, and for the Gaza Governorate, tripled. In fact, at some 36%. And so, what's emerging from the analysis is the cumulative effect of 22 months. And here what we're seeing is an acceleration of a number of indicators which mean that they've broken through the thresholds for classical famine definition. And so, again, this is why the call to action is so important.
So, sorry, so all those data actually has already take GHF into consideration. Is that correct?
Data from GHF was considered.
Yes.
Namo Abdullah with Rudao. I have two questions. So Israel often says that we cannot rely on data that comes out of Gaza. How can we be sure under such catastrophic conditions that you described? How can you get reliable data? And it says that most of the data comes from Hamas-run organizations. My second question is, does the report make any concrete and unequivocal recommendations for the permanent members of the Security Council, especially the United States? Thank you.
Okay. Who would like to go first?
I mean, maybe if I just kick off on the issue of the data sources. I mean, I touched on this a little bit, but again, there's a variety of data sources that are used. Some of this is through interviews that are conducted using a mechanism called CATI. Some of this is coming from assessments that are being done by partners on the ground, physically measuring the circumference of upper arms of malnourished or children suspected to be malnourished. Some of it comes from other information analysis from operational partners, as wide a variety of sources as possible, precisely to be able to triangulate. But again, it followed all of our standard IPC protocols for analysis. And as Jean-Martin said, these protocols and the process around IPC analysis is the gold standard for determining the nature and scope and scale of acute food insecurity globally. To my understanding, just on this final question, there are no specific recommendations that target Security Council members in particular. There are recommendations to stakeholders generally applicable to both political and operational actors.
Very good. Yes, please go ahead.
Maybe just on the point on the reliability of data, and maybe just to give a sense of what UNICEF has been able to collect. I mean, we have dozens of staff on the ground in Gaza. We're working with partners. We have 170 nutrition points where we carry out the screening of children. In July, we screened 139,000 children under 5 out of 290,000 in total. And that's where we have the data of the 13,000, estimated 13,000 children that are malnourished. So just to give a sense of how we're able to collect the data.
Very good. Let me go to Evelyn, and then we'll go online. We have a question online.
Hi.
Go, Evelyn.
Hello, Evelyn Leopold, Jack Hammarskjöld Fund for Journalists. You've gone through a great length to prove how your research is done carefully and the concepts you've used for it. We have been hearing about the desperation of people in Gaza for quite a while. Is anyone besides Israel objecting to what UNICEF and others have produced?
Who could take it?
I mean, just to say, I'm not sure I'm in a position to answer who specifically is objecting to the analysis or not. Again, really the purpose of our presentation today and briefing was to make sure that you were across all of the details that came out of this rigorous analysis, what it's telling us, what the recommendations are for action, and we hope that those actions are moved upon seriously.
Online, I believe we have a question from Mike Wagenheim. Mike, can you hear us? Can you turn on your camera?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, go ahead.
Hi. Thank you, gentlemen, for doing this briefing today. Appreciate the time. Mr. Paulsen said at the top, there's 3 thresholds that need to be met in order to declare a famine, and one of those is mortality rates. Now, I understand there's precedent for taking liberties with mortality rates, that if there's historical evidence, data to show that it's likely that it has been met, that you can assume that it has been met, even though the data might not reflect that. It seems in this case, especially since there are no numbers that I can find in the snapshot released today, I'm trying to understand how the third metric, the mortality metric, how it was decided that it's been met. The publicly released data so far is about 30 times lower than what the metric is for mortality rates in order to declare a famine. How did you arrive at the mortality rate being met at famine conditions when the public data is 30 times lower than that? Can you explain that?
Should we go to Jean-Martin or Rein or? Yeah, Jean-Martin, go ahead.
No, I'd like to reassure Mike that no liberties were taken with any data here. What happened for mortality is that there's evidence of collapsing health systems, untreated illnesses,